Now, another subject which is descriptive in nature and not loss based, other than history, is anthropology. Anthropology, UPSC loves quotes, okay, and even for these questions, ever so often they put it in a quote form. So I thought I'll also give you quotes where necessary, so that at least if you are aware of the quote, you know what the question is referring to, and you can write accordingly. Um, Anthropology has been accused of being the handmaiden of colonialism. What is handmaiden? Handmaiden is like a helper. No, a maid is a help. A handmaiden is your left hand helper, your right hand helper, somebody who's there with you, an instrument. So anthropology is an instrument of colonialism. It helped colonialism. How? Colonialism, and colonialism I've already explained in the previous videos, previous classes. Colonialism is basically control of one society on the resources of another society. One society is able to extract the resources of another society and use it to its advantage by controlling the political power or by controlling the knowledge systems of the other society. This society is taking advantage by keeping control over them and using their resources. That is colonialism. How is anthropology then helping colonialism? By justifying colonialism. How was colonialism justified? Colonialism was justified saying that the Europeans have civilized, they have reached a peak, they have gone ahead through science, through discovery, through technology. They have gone to a point where the rest of the societies are all barbaric, they're all primitive, and they need to be civilized. And therefore, we need to go and study them, study other societies, not our own society. When Europeans studied their own society after modernity, it is called sociology. We've already discussed that. But when Europeans study other societies, they call it anthropology, because all other societies are primitive societies. They are in the back. And remember, the belief was that somehow societies progress through time, through history, and very clear stages are there. First there are tribal societies, then there are first there are hunter gatherer, then there are tribal, then there is feudalism, there is slavery, then there is feudalism, and then there is capitalism. And they believed that they have reached capitalism, so they are the most advanced, they are ahead of everybody, and now they need to study the others so that they can change them, so that they can help them. So colonialism, A, they were exploiting the colonies, but B, justifying the exploitation, saying that it is best for colonies to be under their control so that they can also be civilized, they can also be advanced. Today also the same thing happens in the name of development. We will look at that. In the name of development, America and certain European countries poke their nose. They try to get into the business of how to run other governments. Okay, and that is problematic. The same thing was happening much more blatantly, much more openly in the under the banner of colonialism, and they would justify it. And anthropology was one of the subjects that justified all of this process by saying that because anthropology believes that some are primitive societies and some are advanced societies. Again, this is a very simplistic understanding of anthropology. If you were doing anthropology optional, there you will learn the nuance. Okay, that is not entirely the case. There are other angles to it, but for our purposes it is enough for you to understand that anthropology studies simple societies, primitive societies. Sociology studies complex societies. And one way to distinguish is, while sociology studies one's own society from the European point of view, Europeans studying other societies. Other is the other people, the primitive people, the tribal people, the backward people. Yeah. So other cultures is anthropology. Another distinction between the two is sociology focuses on social groups, and within group behave, like within the group how they behave, and between groups how do they behave. That is sociology's main subject matter. But for anthropology, the subject matter is human beings in general, because your physical anthropology understands all human beings. It applies to all, because say they have a concept called the opposable thumb. They say the reason why human beings became more advanced compared to other primates or other animals is because of our thumb being separate from the rest of the hand. And because this happened, you can hold an instrument, you can grip a stone. A tiger or a dog or a wolf cannot grip a stone. We are able to do that because this is called an opposable thumb. We are able to do that. We can grip an instrument, and because we are able to grip an instrument, we are more efficient hunters. And once, and especially after the discovery of fire, what happens is we are able to consume larger resources. We larger calories we are able to get. And once we are able to do that, our brains develop faster. And once there are enough calories and brains develop faster, we, generation after generation, we just keep getting better and better, smarter and smarter. Anyway, that's the anthropological theory. But the point is, when we are talking about physical anthropology and when we are talking about the opposable thumb, don't have to remember or write all of these details. This is for your understanding. Just stick to the notes. The NIOS material that I'll give you, the NCRT text has a small para, and this slide, that is enough. All this is just for your understanding, for you to really appreciate the subject. So when you are talking about the opposable thumb, all human beings have the opposable thumb. So anthropology, anthropo means the human, logy is study of human beings. Okay, whatever they study is universally applicable to everybody, regardless of culture. Especially physical anthropology is regardless of culture. Then there is cultural anthropology or social anthropology, which comes very close to our subject, sociology. But the difference is, like I said, we try to understand laws. We try to understand what is the causal relationship between these social phenomena. They try to describe it. They try to tell, in this particular, in Khasi society, which is a matrilineal and matriarchal society, women are the head of the family. So men go and do household chores, women run the market, and women also take decisions about the household, economic decisions. Women are the earning members of the family. In describing all this, anthropology describes all this. The Khasi tribe of Meghalaya, they describe it. But sociologists, they are the ones who discovered the terms like matriarchy, matrilineal. What is the difference? In a household, when the woman is the head of the household, archy, whenever you read archy, it means rule. Matri, matra, in Indian languages, it is matra. The Sanskrit word is matra. In English, it's mother. But in Greek and Latin, it's matri. So matriarchy refers to, archy is rule, matri is mother, rule of mother or rule of woman. That is matriarchy, as opposed to patriarchy, which is the rule of father. Now, in matriarchy, we say, sociologists will give you the idea or the concept of what is matriarchy or what is matrilineal. Matrilineal is the lineage or inheritance happens through the female. Okay, from the mother to the daughter, from the daughter to her granddaughter. That is how. So that is matrilineal. This concept is given by sociologists. Anthropologists will describe in which tribe how it is practiced. Okay, for example, in some societies, the eldest son inherits the property, but there are other tribes where it is the youngest son who could inherit the property. Now, rules of different cultures are different. Sociologists will give the terms for it. Primogeniture, okay, the eldest son getting property. So these are, that is how we differ. I hope you are now beginning to get a sense of how we are different. So we are looking at the same object. Another way to look at it is, we are looking at the same phenomenon, but we are looking at it from very different vantage points. Okay, sociologists will try to look at it from, how can I extract general laws or general causation that is happening in that phenomenon. Anthropologists will describe it very neatly, and that is the basic distinction between the two. Sociology studies social groups, anthropology studies human beings and their cultures. Sociology is a comparative discipline. It takes many cultures and compares them and tries to then understand why they are different, and it gives then laws about why they are different. Anthropology, on the other hand, either observes and describes it very methodically, very carefully. Therefore, like I explained in the earlier part, what is the difference between quantitative and qualitative? So largely sociology is quantitative methods. Largely anthropology adopts qualitative methods. Although if you're whenever you're making this point, in the end, do say that sociology is increasingly adopting qualitative methods also. Okay. Now that is the differences. Overlap, what is happening? There are more similarities between social anthropology and sociology. And now the interesting thing is, for an Indian sociologist, an Indian sociologist is studying Indian society. Now, 100 years back, if you were studying the Indian society, you're not studying contemporary society, because contemporary society is the European society, because it is the Europeans who are making these disciplines from their vantage point. Only their society is contemporary society. Indian society is a primitive, backward society. So, if you were a sociologist but you are studying India, you are automatically called an anthropologist. So one of our very good anthropologists, very celebrated anthropologist, Indian anthropologist called Veena Das, she is part of your syllabus. She will come in Indian society. She is in the Department of Social Anthropology at Johns Hopkins University, USA. She is not in the Department of Sociology. Why? Because Veena Das studies in, she's still alive. She's today there. I mean, she keeps, in fact, I've had the good fortune of hearing her lecture at Cambridge, and a fantastic sociologist. We will discuss her in detail when we come to Indian society. But she's not in the Department of Sociology because she studies, she's an expert on Indian society, and Indian society for the Westerners is a primitive, backward society. So she holds a chair, she holds a position of professorship at the Department of Anthropology at Johns Hopkins University. Now, this is the interesting part about the Indian sociologist, and you can make this mention. Sometimes the question is directly asked. The dilemma of Indian sociologist is that he's an anthropologist, because he's studying, according to them, he's studying primitive society. But of course, again, this is also increasingly changing today, because increasingly, as in the last 2 decades, India has able to make a mark on the global sphere. We are a power to reckon with today, and the world is taking notice of our rise, of the rise of India, and it is not fair. And whether it's Bangalore or Hyderabad, um, many years back, about 16 years back, I was working in a call center at HSBC, and I remember at that time Chandrababu Naidu was the chief minister, and it was integrated Andhra Pradesh, and Hyderabad was booming. And I remember ever so often when the caller listening to an Indian accent, they would ask, "Where are you?" And this was the beginning of call centers. So for Americans to hear an Indian person taking a call, they were just getting used to it. This is the first wave of uh, globalization and BPO industry rising in India, first wave of BPO industry. So, ever so often I used to get this question from the customer from the other end who is in America, asking, where are you taking this call from? And I'd say India. And it's like, oh, are you from Hyderabad? Are you in Hyderabad? Is what they would ask, because um, you know they knew Hyderabad as a city, and they recognized that we are in some ways reaching there. And somebody sitting in Hyderabad is serving an American client. So that distinction, that we are somehow a primitive, backward society and they are a contemporary. I am At that point, I was in the banking industry. I was dealing with very sensitive information regarding their banking, aided through technology. Communication is happening between them and us. How can you then call India backward? It doesn't have merit at all, because obviously we are all, at least, I mean, we are close to them, even if we have not reached them. And that is something that increasingly people are recognizing. Although the big universities like Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, MIT, they have still not entirely, I mean, the departments have not changed, although the disciplines are beginning to accept that studying Indian society is also, even they are accepting it as sociology. It's just happening. It's still not entirely institutionalized. The institutions haven't accepted it yet. So that is the rough difference between sociology and anthropology. Um, Now, see, the pace will pick up because we'll use the same template. Remember, again, notice in the template, the first point and the second point usually has to do with perspective of the two disciplines. Then it will do with subject matter of the two disciplines. then it will do with the methods of the two disciplines, and then it will do with how the two disciplines are overlapping and what are the similarities between the two, and what is the contemporary position and relation between the two disciplines. This is your template. This is the template that you'll use for any question that comes in this section of the syllabus.